All right, let's talk about a financial flashlight. It's a tool that was designed almost 50 years ago, believe it or not, to shine a light into some of the darkest corners of the mortgage world. You know that feeling, right? When you're applying for a home loan, you're filling out this mountain of paperwork, basically handing over your entire financial life on a platter. But have you ever stopped to wonder what the bank is really looking at? I mean, beyond your income and credit score, what else is part of the equation?
Well, for a long time, how lenders made those decisions was a total mystery, a complete black box, especially if you lived in certain neighborhoods. But then, one single law came along with a very simple but powerful goal: to flip on the lights.
Now, to really get why this flashlight was so desperately needed, we first have to talk about the shadow it was designed to expose, a practice that cast a long, dark shadow over the map of America. That shadow has a name: redlining. And yeah, it's as bad as it sounds. We're talking about a practice where lenders would literally take a map, draw red lines around neighborhoods, usually minority neighborhoods, and just systematically refuse to offer loans to anyone living inside those lines. It didn't matter how qualified you were as an individual, your address was all that mattered. It was a massive roadblock to building wealth for entire communities. So how do you even begin to fight a problem that's happening in the dark? Well, you create a tool to make it visible. You shine a big, bright light on it. And that's where the Home Mortgage Disclosure Act, or HMDA, comes into the picture. HMDA, passed way back in 1975, is at its heart a data collection law. Now, it doesn't tell banks who they can or can't lend to. Instead, it forces them to keep records, detailed records, on every single loan application they get. And not just keep them, but report them and make them public. The idea was pretty simple. Let's see the data and find out if lenders are actually serving the needs of their whole community.
And make no mistake, this is a big deal. The law was created by the U.S. Congress. It was put into practice by the Federal Reserve Board through something called Regulation C. And today, the main watchdog, the agency that enforces it, is the Consumer Financial Protection Bureau, the CFPB.
Now, here's a really important distinction. HMDA itself isn't the law that makes discrimination illegal. We already have other laws for that, like the Fair Housing Act. Think of HMDA more like a detective's tool. Its job isn't to make the arrest. Its job is to gather the evidence to see if a crime, like a pattern of discrimination, is even happening in the first place.
Okay, so how does this actually play out in the real world? How does the information you put on your loan application become a clue in this massive national investigation? Well, let's follow the data trail.
It all kicks off with that standard loan application, the one known as Form 1033. If you look closely, there's a specific part, Section 8, for demographic information. Your lender takes that info and logs it into a special record called a Loan Application Register, or a LAR for short. Then, once a year, that entire log gets bundled up and sent off to the federal government.
So what's the crucial info they're logging? It really boils down to three key things: your race, your ethnicity, and your sex. That's it. But when you collect those three little data points from millions and millions of applications, you start to see some big patterns.
And that loan application register, the LAR, is a pretty serious document. Lenders are required to keep it on file for 3 years. And every single year, by March 1st, they have to submit it to a group called the FFIEC. That's the Federal Financial Institutions Examination Council. This whole process creates this incredible, consistent database year after year. But it's important to know that HMDA isn't watching every loan out there. It's totally focused on housing. So things like home purchases, home improvement loans, and refinances, yep, they're all reported. Even some construction loans. But loans for college tuition, a vacation, or buying business inventory, nope, those are outside of HMDA's scope.
All right, so let's recap. We've got lenders across the country collecting millions of data points about race, sex, and ethnicity, and they're sending it all to the government once a year, which of course leads to the biggest question of all: why? What's the point?
I mean, when regulators are sifting through this absolute mountain of information, what are they hoping to find? Are they looking for a smoking gun? Some secret email that says, "Don't lend to these people"? Not really. They're looking for something much more subtle, a pattern hiding in plain sight.
And this gets us to the absolute heart of HMDA, spotting something called disparate impact. Here's how it works. Imagine a bank has a policy that says, we don't offer any mortgages under $100,000. On the surface, that policy seems neutral, right? It applies to everyone.
But what if that policy effectively prevents almost everyone in a lower-income minority neighborhood from getting a loan? That is disparate impact. It's not about the intent to discriminate, it's about the discriminatory outcome. And the HMDA data is the tool that drags those outcomes into the light.
So let's bring this all home. Why does this law, one that's nearly half a century old, still matter so much today?
I mean, since 1975, this law has been working quietly in the background. It's a foundational pillar of fair lending in America, constantly, quietly demanding accountability from some of our most powerful institutions.
Because ultimately, that's what this is all about. HMDA is the flashlight. It provides the raw, undeniable data, the transparency that allows regulators, community groups, and even the public to hold lenders accountable and ask tough questions. It helps us see if the financial system is serving all communities, not just the ones inside the right lines on the map.
And so, I'll leave you with this final thought to chew on. Data can be a powerful, powerful flashlight, revealing problems that have been hiding in the shadows for decades. But is just shining a light on a problem the same thing as solving it? Now that's a question worth thinking about. Thanks for watching.